Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our webinar with SketchDeck. As you can probably see from the title, today's topic is on how we at SketchDeck create these amazing templates that help our clients get high quality design at a turbo speed. Me being on the business development team, I work with clients all the time that have quick turnarounds and they need something fast. They don't have a ton of brand guidelines, and we really love, using these templates that we've created at SketchDeck to help them with their presentation. And I'm so excited to have Katie and David here with me today to kind of walk through these benefits and how we really think we can help you guys. So again, I'm Monet Summers, business development team here at SketchDeck, and we're just so excited to have you today. And I will go ahead and introduce Katie from our team.
Hi, Monet. Thanks. Thank you for having me. Thanks for inviting me. I am Katie Sweetlick, and I'm one of the project managers here at SketchDeck. I have worked with clients of all sizes, all needs, and have a lot of experience working with clients who need a pitch deck created quickly within their budgets. And as part of that, we've decided about 6 months ago to develop some pre-designed templates right here at SketchDeck that our design team has created with our clients in mind. And that's what we're going to be discussing today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Katie. And David, do you mind introducing yourself really quick?
Yeah, of course. I'm David, co-founder here at SketchDeck. I'm head of content development and marketing. I work alongside Katie on a lot of presentations and pitch decks, helping the content get together, and then I see these amazing templates sort of come to life afterwards.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David. Well, let's dive right into this. I know we don't have a ton of time and we want to make sure there is as much useful information for you guys here today. So Katie, to kick us off, can you tell us a little bit about these SketchDeck templates?
Yes, absolutely. So a template, whether it's one of our SketchDeck pre-designed templates or any template that you might be working with, can be thought of as basically a skeleton for your presentation. A template is going to provide you with your basic types of slides already set up as masters with font set, color set, etc., so that one can easily apply the content at hand to the skeleton of the template, making sure that everything remains formatted. And the beauty of our SketchDeck templates is that we've created them kind of with our long history of client work in mind. So we've created them around an understanding of what types of content a lot of our clients have when they're working on a pitch deck. Also, as you'll see here, I'll flip through some of these examples. We've created them in mind with multiple different sectors in mind. We get clients, companies of all different sorts. And so we've tried to create templates that reflect that and that offer the best design style for companies in different sectors. Flip really quickly through the examples here. So as you'll see, all of these are totally anonymous at this point in time. They're templates. They do not have true client content in them, for example, cover slide. So all of these are examples of what a slide will look like within a given template style. This first one that we're looking at is the Queen of Pitch Decks. And then all of our templates, we provide them with kind of 2 suggested color palettes. This is for a case if a client has 0 brand identity in place. It's a brand new company. You don't have a color palette ready yet. We've got some suggestions for you. But the real beauty of these templates is that they're completely customizable to your brand identity. So if you do have brand colors in place, brand font in place, and that's already firm for your company, we can apply your brand colors and your fonts and other bits and pieces of your brand to these templates to make them customized and specific to your brand. Here, for example, this colorful tech deck uses a gradient throughout a lot of the different slide styles, and that's something that we could customize to your brand color palette. Same with the fonts, et cetera, et cetera. This just uses, all of these just use a placeholder logo. So again, totally customizable for the amount of brand guideline that you currently have in place with your company. And just a couple other examples. You can see there's a wide variety of slide types in each of the styles. This is the majestic presentation. a bit softer, a bit more kind of leaning towards the food and beverage and wellness industry. Quite different in style from the previous examples. Here, the Empire State of decks is one of the most popular that we've seen thus far. I think that it has been really popular with clients because it is so clean, minimalist. It really focuses on a nice use of white space and a nice balance of imagery and textual information, as you can see in some of these example slides here. It does allow for large areas of photographic information, which is a nice way to kind of add your brand company touch to this template. And then overall, the kind of light, clean style works really well for a variety of clients that we've seen. Some further examples. And then here, a second color palette that we propose. You can see here, it's more in the red and gray scale space. Science presentation is another very popular template of ours. It's a bit bolder, obviously a different approach to the style than we were seeing in the Empire State of decks. Second color palette offered on our end, but again, completely customizable. And this is, we'll be able to link directly to this entire set of examples for anyone that's interested in pursuing the sketch deck pre-designed template.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Katie. So a really quick question, if you don't mind me asking, what is the biggest difference, would you say, between someone coming to Sketchdeck and, working with your design team on, a pre-designed template, or them just going and buying one from Etsy or, getting on Fiverr and downloading the pre-designed template? What is the main difference there?
I would say one of the biggest benefits there is that you have the project manager on hand at Sketchdeck to listen to you at the start of the project and understand your goals with using the specific template. So the ways in which you would like to see the template that you've chosen reflect your brand or your company's identity. We get to have a conversation around, hearing firsthand from you what your brand style is, what the feel is, what you're going for with the overall look and feel of the deck, and then project managers at Sketchdeck are able to communicate and brief our design team so that the designers understand kind of what liberties they can take in customizing these templates. We'd like to tell our designers, these are really just a jumping off point. They give you some key layouts for presentations, but there's still a lot of opportunity to be creative and find ways to kind of tweak these templates so that they are as spot on to the client's brand identity or their goals for the deck as possible.
Perfect. That was super helpful. And that leads me to my next question. Sometimes clients come to me and they say, hey, Monet, should I work with your creative design team or should I work with the production team and use a pre-designed template? When do you suggest to clients, when you're having that initial kickoff call, maybe they should go with a pre-designed template? When is that a good option?
So pre-designed templates are an incredible option when you are short on timeline and or short on budget. The benefit of the pre-designed template is because we already have the style kind of finalized. We know the style we're going to be working with because we've selected the template. We don't have to do an initial style discovery phase. So when you're working with the creative team at Sketchdeck, you will have that conversation with your project manager and then start with a round of style samples where a couple of different designers will suggest styles for your deck to you. We get to skip that entire phase when we're using a pre-designed template. And that phase can be, 1 to 2 to 3 iterations back and forth, which sees your timeline extend quite a bit at the beginning of the project before we jump into that full deck, working with the creative team. When you work at the production level on one of these pre-designed templates, the very first iteration is going to be your entire deck. So you'll get to see the full deck, the full presentation with that first iteration. And then of course we still have room to iterate back and forth on any tweaks that might be needed. But that does cut out a really nice, portion of the timeline up front. And then same goes for cost on the creative level projects. There's budget included for that initial style discovery phase where we're doing that sample work. And with that portion of the project cut out by following the template, we're able to run the project at production rates. So you do see a significant difference in both timeline and budget. And I would say that this is a great, these are good resources, these templates, specifically for clients who don't have hard, fast, like must follow to a T brand guidelines in place. If a client has a 30-page brand guideline document, this wouldn't be the right fit. You know, we would have to customize this way too much to be able to fit all of the specifics that are in that brand guideline document. If you do have a simple style guide for your brand with, again, fonts, colors, maybe photo styles, those are elements of a brand that we can very easily apply to these templates. So yeah, I would say those are kind of the biggest bits and pieces to understand, and the difference between opting to use a template and opting to go the creative route with Sketch Deck.
Perfect. That is super helpful. And that leads me to my next question. And I'm sure you get this question a lot when you're talking to clients about these pre-designed templates, but how does Sketch Deck make sure that the decks do look creative and that, you know, I go to demo day and I don't look like the next client and because they went and used Sketch Deck? Do you have any examples, or can you kind of walk us through how you guys are able to customize it and still keep people within budget?
Yes, absolutely. And that's a great question. And I get that a lot from clients. You know, they'll take a look at the pre-designed templates and kind of say, I like the template, but I don't really understand how my content will fit into that template or how my brand identity will fit into that template. So what I'll show through here, and the next few slides I'll show, are some of our templated slides, and then what we have done for clients using those templated slides. You'll see all of the client content I'm showing has been totally anonymized. So you're seeing a version of what we've created, but it gives you the right idea. So as I mentioned earlier, the Science Deck template is one of our really popular templates. It's bold, it's colorful, but it's still minimalist enough to where the content is the main focus of the presentation. You're not being overwhelmed by the visuals. And I think that is a big part of what has made this template very, very popular. It's got a really fun icon style with pops of color behind each icon. The shapes in these bold outlines are really effective for a lot of our clients. So here, these last two slides I've shown, these are the actual template slides. These are, as I said, meant to be used as skeletons. And then here is an example of a deck we've done, obviously with a color palette that was specified by the client. And again, with visuals that are coming more specifically from the needs of the client. And I thought that this particular slide here on the bottom right-hand side was a great example of how we can take a template style and create a graphic, a simple graphic that is very specific to your content. So if I go just back up quickly, you can kind of see here these curved edge shapes that are used in the template style. Actually not shown on this slide, but here you get a small idea that there are some curved edge shapes within the Science Deck. And then here you can see how our designer has taken the specific content from the client, kind of this network graphic or this timeline graphic from the client, and has designed it according to the style set in place within the template, but specific to the exact flow needed and the exact content needed for this client. You can see again that the icon style is coming directly from the template as well, with a pop of color behind each of the icons that's coming from the client's color palette. Here we have a few other examples. This is another flow graphic, which is quite similar to the suggested icon style slide from the template, however, with some added arrows, which are a little light to see here. But this was updated to be able to function specifically for the client's content. And another example I have brought is using our architecture deck template. And here you've got some of our example slides pulled directly from the template. So no customization to client need here. These are also direct examples of the architecture deck template. And then these next few slides will show what we've done for a company which we have anonymized and called Choose here. I've found this to be a particularly nice example of how one of our templates can be customized to a client's brand identity. For example, on the right, we're seeing the cover slide directly pulled from our sketch deck pre-designed template of the architecture pitch deck. On the left-hand side, we're seeing what we've delivered to a client. Again, anonymized, but what we have delivered following the same structure of the title slide from the template, however, softening the edges of all of these shapes. And this is a very, very small change to make to the template, but it's really helpful in just kind of bringing in that client brand identity. This brand, as you'll see in the next couple of slides, is much softer. The color palette is soft, the patterns that are used are soft, the imagery is soft, the product itself is meant to feel soft and comfortable. And just the simple change of rounding out these corners has given this architecture deck template a much softer feel, a much more on-brand feel, while following the exact same structure of the slide itself. Here are some other examples from this same deck. So we're following the general structure of the slides provided within our template, but then we're also, where needed, specifically on a slide like this that we're seeing on the right, there isn't a slide within our template that is specific for this type of graph. So there's always that, that ability to not just follow every single slide templated slide exactly, but because you have a designer working specifically understanding your brand and understanding your needs for the deck, we're able to adjust and include new slide layouts or new graphics, new graph styles that maybe aren't already included in that template. We can include those in your deck design based on your specific content that needs to be designed.
Awesome. That was super helpful.
I just realized I have a few more examples from this same presentation, which I think has been one of my favorite uses of a presentation template customized to the client's brand, because I feel like it has, it's just worked really smartly. The designer made some really smart decisions, again, with those softer edges. And one item I did forget to mention on when we were looking at these cover slides is part of the reason the client and I in our discussion opted to use this architecture pitch deck was specifically because of these shapes, kind of these color blocks that are used within the architecture deck. You can see again, they're used here and up in this top right corner. The client wanted to have their brand texture or their brand illustrated pattern used subtly throughout the deck. And we felt like these shapes that are kind of behind images was a really spot on opportunity to tie in that brand pattern without it being overwhelming. So you'll see it's used here in the background where this shape is used, but again, it's the pattern specific to the brand and it's got those softer corners. Same goes in these slides. We've used that brand pattern in the top right corner rather than a solid shape, which has just brought in that little touch of this client's brand specifically. And again, some customized graphics for the specific content from the client. This isn't a layout that is already predetermined within the template. This is something that was created custom for the client's need. Here again, you can see a bit more close up this pattern used again, taking the idea from the template where we've got these shapes behind the screenshot placeholders, but in this case, we've used the specific brand pattern.
That was super helpful, Katie. Thank you so much. I feel like the saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words. It's same for examples and client examples. I know we anonymized everything, but so often people want to see these templates brought to life with branding and things like that. So thank you so much for going through all of that. I do have a quick question for David. So a lot of times clients are coming to us and they're needing content help. And I know you head the content team and you've got an amazing group of copywriters and just an amazing army of content people. And I was curious for you all, is it typical that you start with the content and then push them to pre-designed templates? Or sometimes has someone come with a pre-designed, using Sketch Deck on the pre-designed template and then you fine tune the content? What does that workflow look like for you, or what would you prefer?
Yeah, so we work with clients who are both going the pre-designed template route as well as going as the full bespoke design, and sometimes the premium creative service. So really the kind of content and design are two separate vehicles where we first get the content finalized and make sure the client really loves the content in a completely undesigned state, and then we move it forward to whichever design solution best fits their timeline and budget.
Perfect. That's super helpful. And last question for us today, and this one's for you, Katie. How quickly can we turn around a pre-designed deck? And just to give us some parameters, so someone doesn't come with like a 100-slide deck needing it in 12 hours. But let's say it's Monday, and by Friday I'm having a presentation, whether it's a sales deck or demo day deck or something like that. And I use a pre-designed template. How quickly can your team typically turn it around, and how many iterations do we typically get within that?
Absolutely. So with one of our pre-designed templates, our standard delivery speed is going to be looking at a 2 to 3 business day turnaround per iteration. If we're looking at, say, up to 20-25 slides, that's something that we can most likely get turned around for you in that 2-day period. So if you do have just that week from the time your content is ready to the time you need to give a presentation, we kick something off early on a Monday. You'd be looking at a first delivery of your entire deck on Wednesday, which would allow for enough time for one more iteration for you to provide feedback on what we have delivered and us to make any changes that are needed. That is definitely a quicker timeline. If we have a little bit longer, we can iterate once more if there are additional changes needed. But I think these are, timeline is really important to get kind of firm with the client before we kick off the project, so we know how quickly it is that we need to be working, and not only that, but how much time we'll have for changes after the first delivery has been made. That being said, it's also really helpful to talk through the content slide by slide really quickly with the client before we jump into building the full deck. This is, we would have this same conversation when we're discussing your brand identity, what template is best for you, a real quick run through of the content. If there are any details on specific slides that we need to be aware of, that helps us get it right on the very first iteration and then have fewer changes needed in the following iterations.
Perfect. That makes a lot of sense. And I love that we're able to accommodate those tight turnarounds and those timelines. So thank you for pointing all of that out, Katie. Well, those were all of the questions I had for us today. I really appreciate everyone joining us. As Katie mentioned at the beginning of our webinar, we will make sure that all of this is linked so you can have example decks, you can see the pre-designed templates that we've created at Sketch Deck. And then of course, we would always love to schedule a call with you if you're interested in partnering with us on one of these decks, or even working with our design team, our premium creative team. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and see you next time. Bye.